So pull out your pen and paper and get ready to take some notes, because here's what we're going to cover. The biggest mistake that 95% of home sellers make and how it could leave you paralyzed with frustration. How to sell your home and pay virtually no cost to the listing agent. What real estate experts are saying is the future of selling a home. The one tactic that buyers around the world are begging for. The game-changing secret that will get almost any home sold, even if it's been on the market over a year. By implementing this secret, you will get your home sold faster and for more money. The single most important thing you could do to yield the highest net return. How to increase showings on a home by up to 300% with just a click of a button. Why most realtors are dead wrong about the right way to sell homes. 6 marketing secrets that work in today's modern world. I know it's shocking, but they're true. A case study. How I made a homeowner $17,000 more money by giving her my money-making ebook. This is the same ebook I'm going to give you if you stay tuned all the way to the end of this webinar. And that's just the beginning. I'm also going to reveal how to get buyers begging to buy your home. The only 2 ways to sell a home. Learn what banks are doing and make thousands of dollars more. How to hire a great realtor and kick the duds to the curb. And that's still not all. Bottom line, by the end of this presentation, you're going to have more insight and understanding into how to systematically get your home sold than 90 to 95% of even the realtors out there. And I'm not joking about that. In fact, check out what Gina had to say after I shared the information I have in store with you, with her. Lance, thank you very much for the webinar event you held yesterday. I was absolutely blown away by the information you talked about. I've sold multiple homes and I've never had any of my agents do a fraction of that. I now understand what it takes to get a home sold and the importance of hiring a great real estate agent. Thank you again, and I will be talking with you soon. Gina. And she's just one of the many that have already benefited from this powerful content. So hopefully you have your pen and paper out and you're ready to take some notes, because you've seen I've got a ton of actionable content to share with you, and I'm going to be moving fast. By the way, make sure you stay all the way through to the end, because I've got a really special bonus that I've reserved exclusively for those that attend this webinar. It's a confidential ebook from my own personal collection, and it's entitled Home Selling Secrets. It's a must-read for anybody looking at selling a home, and it's packed with valuable insight and money-making strategies, like the single most important thing every seller must know in order to get top dollar. Secret home staging tips experts use to get buyers to pay more money. How to stage your home to sell within 2 weeks. Everything you need to know from A to Z. And much, much more. I've painstakingly compiled it through my extensive experience as a real estate agent, and you won't find it for sale anywhere else at any price. But if you stay tuned all the way to the end, I'll send you a personal copy absolutely free. I want you to have it as a gift from me to you, because I know it will have a tremendous positive impact on the future of you selling your home. Sound good? Okay, great. Now let's get started. First, let's briefly talk about how most people go about selling a home. That way, we can identify some problems with it, and then we'll be able to put together a far more effective game plan that you could follow to simplify the home selling process, while also making it a lot more fun, rewarding, and most importantly, profitable. Now, if you're like most people who are looking to sell a home, you start off by doing one of 2 things. One, you sell your home yourself for sale by owner. The second, and how most homeowners go about selling their home, is to hire a realtor. Now, I'm using the term hire loosely since most homeowners don't properly interview realtors. But this mindset leads to one, if not the most costly mistake I see potential home sellers make. And if you're one of the ones that falls into this extremely common trap, you'll end up paying multiple thousands of dollars and sometimes even tens of thousands of dollars more for your realtor services. In fact, looking at the list of people we have on this event right now, I'm willing to bet at least 90% of you will be in this unfortunate situation. I'm going to show you why that is in just a few minutes, and most importantly, how you can make sure you avoid this extremely costly mistake. And don't worry, it's not too late to recover if you're one of the 90% on this event that I'm willing to bet has made this mistake. But before we talk about that, let's talk about selling your home yourself. I know it may surprise a lot of you on this event to hear this, but I don't blame you for trying to sell your home yourself. Look, I'm no different than you. When I sell my home, I could either sell it myself or sell it through the real estate community. If I sell it through a realtor, I have to pay them a commission, just like you. Of course, I don't pay myself a commission, but I have to spend my time, my effort, my money, and follow up with people. Now, if you're selling your home yourself, or you're thinking about it, here's some statistics from the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, that you should know about. It's important to know that NAR mailed out a 120 question survey to a random 93,502 home buyers and sellers, and based off the seller's response, 90% of the sellers ended up listing their home with a realtor. The majority of the remaining 10% ended up taking their home off the market. And according to the survey, homeowners will net 7 to 10% less when selling for sale by owner. Why? Because buyers do all the work. And if they do the work, they want the discount. Look, I'm not telling you this to influence you or discourage you. At the end of the day, this is your home and you need to do what's best for you and your family. I mentioned before that enlisting the help of a realtor to guide you through the home selling process is either one of the most profitable or one of the costliest decisions you can make. Now, if that seems a bit extreme to you, let me ask you a question that I think will perfectly illustrate this point. If you were charged with a crime you didn't commit and you were facing years or perhaps decades behind bars, how would you go about hiring an attorney to defend you? Would you hire a brand new attorney that had little experience? Would you hire an attorney that was obviously only interested in how much money he or she can make from the case? Or would you do your due diligence and find an attorney that had years of experience, who had tried thousands of cases and had a proven track record of winning? Now, without a second of hesitation, I could tell you that every single person on this webinar right now would absolutely hire the most experienced and most respected attorney they could possibly find. And guess what? Choosing a real estate agent to work with is no different. After all, you're trusting them with one of the largest financial investments of your life, and you're trusting them to sell a home that you and your loved ones have created years of happy memories in. And I'm consistently shocked to see how little effort prospective home sellers put into researching the agent they're going to put so much trust in. I repeatedly work with clients who have horror story after horror story from past agents they worked with, and don't let that be you. All that pain, all that frustration could be so easily avoided if you simply do a little homework on the front end, because if you choose the right agent, everything else will fall into place. And I do mean everything. You should never make the unbelievably costly mistake of not doing your homework before you agree to hire someone. Especially since by homework, I mean a few simple things you could do to give yourself total peace of mind that you're working with the most qualified and knowledgeable agent possible. In fact, let me outline what these simple things are so you can rest assured you're not dropping the ball here. And then we'll move on to my proven step-by-step process for selling your home in as little as a few days. Because look, at the end of the day, as a home seller, one of the largest costs you'll have when it comes to working with an agent is if you get this wrong and work with someone who doesn't truly know this industry inside and out, who doesn't have a proven track record of raving fans they've been working with in the past. Now, most prospective home sellers will feel like finding the right agent is more luck than science, but thanks to this webinar, that's not going to be you. So make sure you pay particular attention to this. Now, it all starts off with the unfortunate reality of the real estate industry, and that's the process of becoming an agent is hardly a difficult one. Almost anyone with a few $100s and a couple weeks of time could get a real estate license in the state of Florida. Here's a sobering statistic from NAR. 7% of the realtors do 93% of the business. That means 93% of the realtors are groveling over the remaining 7% of business. And unfortunately, as home sellers, that means a lot of these realtors will say anything to be the one to list your home. And for those that aren't lucky enough to be in this webinar and learn the truth, will be easily lured into a false sense of security. Why? Because they fail to recognize that there's a stark difference between a certified agent and a qualified agent. To be clear, every agent is certified. This simply means they passed a state test and they know a few rules. But a qualified agent is someone who is not only certified by the state, but it also has invested years of their life to become a true expert in more than just rules of selling a home. And this is why it's so simple to identify the best agent to work with, because someone who's truly qualified as an agent will be readily apparent. One of the easiest ways is to visit the agent's website. Is it filled with helpful information, or is it just a cookie-cutter website that their company gives them? If you're not sure the difference, use my website, tampa2enjoy.com, as a comparison tool. Within 10 seconds of visiting my website, you'll notice that it stands head and shoulders above what you get from other agents. Because I've put hundreds of hours into compiling the most informative content for buyers and sellers to gain a totally unfair advantage over others that are stuck working with simply a certified agent who really has nothing to offer you. The reason why an agent's website is so important because it shows their professionalism and their level of online marketing. If they can't properly market themselves, how in the world can you expect them to market your home and get you top dollar? They just can't do it. It doesn't make any sense, right? Of course not. Here's a picture of one of my wonderful past clients, Cheryl and John. Their video testimonials on my website. Cheryl is one of my most memorable clients because when we first started talking, she was very standoffish. She told me within the first minute that she did not like real estate agents at all. When I asked her why, she went on to describe the horror stories she had in the past with her agents. The problem was she was only working with certified agents and never a truly qualified agent. If you go to the doctor, you expect the doctor to ask you questions and get to know you, review your medical history, and then use their extensive experience to find the best solution for whatever's ailing you. That's what makes them qualified. If you went to a doctor and they simply sat you down at their desk so you could go through their medical reference books until you were able to diagnose yourself, you'd never put up with it, would you? Even if they were technically certified as a doctor. So it always shocks me to see prospective home sellers tolerate this type of service from a real estate agent. So the bottom line, a qualified agent spends money and time to really get to know what it takes, not only to get your home sold, but to get you top dollar with the least amount of stress for you and your loved ones. While a certified agent is just someone who puts your home in the MLS and basically prays every night it sells. And if you think that's harsh, I'm willing to bet you've never experienced the difference of working with a truly qualified agent. And please, when you're talking with a real estate agent, don't be deceived by the sneaky gimmicks that some of them use to sucker you in. Here's a few you might recognize. I'll sell your home in 29 days or I'll buy it. I'll sell your home for full price or I'll sell it for free. Don't be lured into these. These are known as USPs, unique selling propositions. All the agent is trying to do is get an appointment with you so they can list your home. These propositions are so unique that you have to call the agent to get the scoop. You want to know how they can guarantee this, how they can guarantee to sell my home in 29 days, or they'll buy it, or whatever the hook is. Of course you know they're not going to buy it or sell it for free, but curiosity killed the cat. and it may just get you to call him. But the granddaddy of all of them is directed toward for sale by owners and homes that have expired in the MLS. The agent calls and says, I have a buyer that might be interested in your home. May I come over and preview it? You'll probably receive dozens of these calls if you're a for sale by owner if your home's expired, because every single real estate company teaches their agents to do this, because statistically they know that home sellers only interview 1 to 2 agents. Let me ask you a question. Is this the type of agent you want to hire? An agent that starts your relationship off by deceiving you? I'd hope not. You need to hire an agent that wants to help you, someone who you like and respect, who's going to be straight up with you, even if it's something you don't want to hear. So when people ask me for the number one secret to selling a home, my answer is always the same. Find the most qualified agent you can by doing your homework, like I've just shared with you. Because working with a truly qualified agent allows you to instantly get the same level of knowledge, experience, and marketing that they've likely spent years upon years diligently developing. And most importantly, a great agent will take care of all the important behind-the-scenes steps so you could focus your attention on the most important part, getting you and your family ready for the next chapter of your lives. But before you could do that, there are 4 things you must do in order to sell your home for top dollar. But best of all, when you can find this 4-step powerful process, you could zero in on getting your home sold in days rather than spending months aimlessly hoping and praying that you get lucky. Amateurs think luck has something to do with it, but the happiest and most successful home sellers know it's a science. Now, when I share these 4 components with my clients, sometimes they look at me like I'm a little crazy until they put it into action for themselves and experience the results. You see, the reason what I'm about to share with you is such a foolproof process is because it forces you to focus on what matters most. So just like the guardrails on the side of a windy road, these 4 components are going to keep you firmly on the right path and focused on what's most important about selling your home and getting you top dollar without going off the side of the cliff because you're too distracted by the smooth-talking realtors and the shrewd gimmicks they employ to try to draw you in. So let's go over this 4-step process so you could zero in on getting your home sold in days and enjoying the total confidence that you've made the right decision. Don't get swept up into the excitement of selling a home. Stay focused and be ruthless, and that applies to all 4 steps I'm going to share with you. It's the only surefire way to avoid dealing with seller's remorse. So are you ready? Okay, it all starts with step 1, pricing your home correctly. Pricing is always the common denominator. You could do everything wrong, but if you price your home low enough, there's always going to be a buyer. Here's what I mean. There are only 2 ways to sell a home. The first is price. Look at bank-owned homes and short sales. Banks sell their homes based off a price. Would you pay top dollar for a bank-owned or a short sale? Of course not. And banks know this. Matter of fact, everybody knows this. But this shouldn't be your strategy to get a home sold, and certainly not if you want top dollar. The only other way to sell a home is based off of traffic. If you want to get top dollar, you have to get traffic. Don't worry. In step 3, I'm going to go over marketing and show you how you can get loads of buyers looking at your home. And in just a little bit, I'm going to share the number 1 strategy for getting any home sold, even ones that have been on the market for months that you think will never sell. This is so powerful, it's going to get you to rethink your entire home selling strategy. Now, before I talk about how to properly price a home, I want to show you some very important and helpful statistics from the National Association of Realtors. This is a very interesting slide here, because if you look at the left of the slide, it shows the percent of fair market value, and at the bottom it shows the number of weeks a home is on the market. Statistically, the longer a home is on the market, the less money a seller will get. So if you have a $180,000 home in Tampa Bay on the market for 4 months, you could expect about $170,000. That's a $10,000 loss. Of course, the price of the home plays a big factor in this, and that's why my goal is to get every home sold within 2 to 4 weeks. Now, when you list your home, it's only going to appeal to 60% of all buyers for one reason or another. But what this graph right here shows is if you overprice your home by just 10%, you're going to exclude 50% of all home buyers. It's not just important what you price your home for, but how you price it. Keep in mind, buyers shop in increments. This graph shows the amount of activity a home will get based off the number of weeks it's on the market. Because most of the marketing is done within the first week or two, most of the activity is in that time frame as well. Again, this is why it's my goal to get my personal homes and my customers' homes sold within a 2 to 4 week time period. Of course, if a home is $80,000, it should sell a lot quicker than 4 weeks because there's a lot of buyers in that price range. If a home is $800,000, it could take quite a bit longer to sell. So let's talk about 3 ways to determine value. 1, get an appraisal. 2, get a comparable market analysis. And 3, do a total market overview. Now I'm going to talk mainly about numbers 2 and 3, but let's go over when you should get an appraisal. Well, if you have no comparables or very few comparable properties in your subdivision or area, if your home is located in a rural area, it's maybe a high-end luxury or custom home, or it's a very unique one-of-a-kind home. The reason why you want to get an appraisal is because if a potential buyer cannot find comparables to determine the value, they're going to give you the low end of the price range. But if you could give them proof, you are far more likely to get top dollar. The second way to determine value is to get a comparable market analysis. So let's break down the word comparable. 10 to 15% in size, similar age, similar quality of construction. Market, comparable homes in your subdivision are up to a mile away depending on how many comparables there are in your subdivision. If your home is located in a rural area, you might have to go 5 to 15 miles away. And the most important of all is analysis. You will need to analyze all the active homes for sale and all the sold homes within the past 6 months. Then proper adjustments will need to be made for things like lot size, square footage, age, quality of construction, upgrades, etc. Keep in mind, homes don't have a defined price value like a loaf of bread or a pair of shoes. Homes have a price range depending on the quality, condition, location, upgrades, etc. Look at these 2 homes, for example. The top one sold for $210,000. The bottom sold for $240,000. They're in the same subdivision, the same square footage, the same year built, and they sold in the same time frame. But they are 2 completely different homes by 2 completely different builders. The home on top is a cookie-cutter home built by a national quantity builder, while the home below is built by a quality, semi-custom home builder. Just look at the pictures and you could see the noticeable difference in the attention to detail. This is why it's critically important to do an analysis of the comparables. If you price your home too low or too high, you're ultimately going to lose money. And please, hire a realtor that knows and understands what they're looking at. So let me talk about total market overview. This is going to be new to most sellers and even most real estate agents, but it's a critical step in getting your home sold. Don't just analyze the homes in your subdivision. I mean, that's good. Most buyers will look in a city or multiple zip codes, so it's vitally important to know what your competition is like outside your subdivision. So after you determine your value of the home, have your realtor pull all active homes plus or minus 10% of the estimated listing price in your city and or zip code. Then go preview all active homes plus or minus 15% of your estimated listing price in your subdivision. Knowing your competition will help you understand what your home's true value is and what you should list it for. Also, make sure the realtor you're working with is brutally honest with you, especially if it's something you may not want to hear, but something you need to hear. Because at this point, a lot of agents are seeing dollar signs. They won't tell you anything that they think will jeopardize the deal of them getting the listing. But you need to be confident that the agent you're working with will put your needs above their own. And that's easy for an agent to do and give you lip service, but it's far more different when their commission is on the line. But that's when it counts the most. Let me give you a quick example of what I mean, and this is far from an isolated instance. A while back I was having lunch with another realtor. He was excited because one of his sellers was closing on their home after being listed for almost a year. He went on to tell me originally that he listed the house for $250,000, but it sold for $130,000. After my jaw hit the table, I asked him why in the world he would ever list a home that was so overpriced. He said, "Well, what was I supposed to do? If I didn't list it, another realtor would have, and at the end of the day, I got the listing sold." Then I asked him, if the seller priced the home right in the beginning, and it didn't get shop worn, and it didn't sit on the market for so long, what would it have sold for? He said it would have sold for around $150,000. So by not being upfront and honest with the seller, it cost the seller $20,000 cash. Over the years, I've talked to tons of realtors that get listings this way, and every one of them says the same thing. It's the seller's decision and what they want to list their home for. I'm just doing what they want. You see, every realtor knows if they want to get a listing, they just need to inflate the price and convince the seller that their home is worth that much money. Unfortunately, every realtor and real estate company knows that once the listing agreement is signed, the seller is virtually helpless because they're locked into a legally binding contract. This is a sobering fact, but true. But don't worry, I've got you covered. Near the end of this webinar, I'm going to go over how you could protect yourself from all these too common predator realtors. Bottom line, work with an agent that is unquestionably honest with you, no matter what it costs them personally. I know that being brutally honest with my clients, even when it will cost me the listing, I will ultimately be rewarded in the long run. You see, I know I only have one reputation. So keep in mind, this is about you. So choose an agent you respect and want to have a long-term business relationship with for years to come. Never feel rushed or let anybody pressure you into a decision. Selling a home is one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, and you should have total confidence and peace of mind in your decision, however long it takes. Never hire an agent based off of the price they tell you they could sell your home for. This is your home and your decision, and you control the price that you ask. Instead, hire a realtor that is knowledgeable, experienced, has a solid marketing plan, system, great follow-up and communication, because these are the things you have no control over after you sign the listing agreement. By following the simple approach, you could gain peace of mind by knowing you're focusing on one of the most important aspects of selling your home that many potential homeowners tend to marginalize because they're too overwhelmed by the process. Now, a little bit ago I said I would tell you about the #1 strategy for getting a home sold, even if it's been on the market for months or over a year. This is something so effective I don't share this with other realtors, not even realtors in my training classes. I only share it with my personal clients that have listed their home with me. But I want to give you this strategy as a gift from me because I know it could have a tremendous positive impact on getting your home sold. Regardless of what anybody may tell you, there are only two parts to selling your home that are completely under your control: the commission and the selling price. And the price and the commission you choose will largely depend on what type of strategy you use. Do you know what I mean by that? Okay, here's what I mean. There are over 5,000 agents in our marketplace, and guess what that translates into? Well, there are over 5,000 different ways to sell your home. But the truth is, all those different approaches really boil down to just two strategies. You could sell your home based off a price, or you could sell it based off of traffic. Does that make sense? Here's what I mean. If you were to go to Barnes & Noble and find the real estate section, you could see lots of different books on how to be a top agent, and each one of those books would teach you one single way of selling homes. It's the traditional approach, and nearly all the agents have used it for years. I call it the price approach, because it uses the price to sell your home. Here's what I mean by that. A home, again, isn't like a loaf of bread or a pair of shoes or a share of stock. You can't go to your computer or call someone on the phone to get a price for it. The price of a home is much more subjective. It's somewhere within a reasonable range. Let's say, for example, some imaginary home is worth $100,000. It's not actually worth $100,000 though. It's worth between $95,000 and $105,000, depending on the motivations of the buyer and the seller. Now, if you started the listing price at much over $105,000, everybody would pretty much agree that it's too high. And by the same token, if you drop the price below $95,000, everybody would agree that it's a great deal. The way we've been taught, what all of us real estate agents have been taught, is to convince you, the sellers, to list your home at the low end of the reasonable range. That way, the price can be used to motivate the buyer to write an offer. If the home doesn't sell in a month or so, we're supposed to go back to you and ask you to reduce the price, telling you that the market has spoken and your home must not be worth as much as you thought. Then you agree to reduce the price. And we wait. In another month, if the home doesn't sell, we ask you to reduce the price again. Eventually, we suck in some bottom-feeding buyer that will be more than happy to steal your home. Now look, there's nothing wrong with that approach. It'll definitely sell your home, but it's an expensive way to go about it. But here's what I would do if I was you, and what I've done in my own personal homes. I would use another approach, what I call the traffic approach. If it were my home, I would put the price at $105,000. And then I would set aside a 1% bonus to use as a bribe. In other words, I'd raise the price by 10% and the commission by 1%. But let me explain. If you were to look in the MLS right now, you'd find about 60 homes with more or less the same size, features, etc. as your home. Now, when an agent has a buyer customer who's looking for that type of home, he or she's not going to show all 60 of them. Instead, they're going to show around 10 to 12. What this strategy will do is it will ensure your home gets put on the show list. That's all it will do. But that's enough, and here's why. I don't know any agent who would try to talk their customer into buying a home that wasn't right for them simply to make a higher commission. But on the other hand, I don't know any agent that wouldn't hope their client will choose a home that pays the best. Agents are regular people, and if they can make more money when doing the same amount of work representing their clients, you bet they will. Do you remember the movie Field of Dreams? The famous line from that movie was, if you build it, they will come. Well, in real estate, if you bribe them, they will come. The fact is, in order for your home to stand out in the sea of other homes for sale, there must be something outstanding about it. With the traditional approach, it's price, if not immediate, then eventually, that makes the home stand out. But with the traffic approach, it's the high commission. It's really very simple. And if there ever comes a time where you want to lower your sales price, you just reduce and pull back the bonus commission. It's far more effective in an intelligent strategy to increase the commission 1 or 2% than it is to lower the price 5 or 10%. I would give $1,000 to make $10,000 any day of the week, wouldn't you? And this is why you need to hire a realtor that's creative and thinks outside the box. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. In step 3, I'm going to go over how to get loads of buyers. Okay, step 2, staging and conditioning your home. This is the single most overlooked step in the entire home selling process. There are 2 main benefits to staging: faster sale time and higher sale price. According to the National Association of Realtors, stage homes sell 80% faster and up to 11% more money than non-stage properties. And here's the beauty. It takes very little time and there's a huge payout. And you have really no competition. I could tell you from looking at thousands and thousands of homes for sale in my career, less than 10% of them are staged. 20% of the sellers do some staging, and the remainder of the 70% of the sellers do nothing at all. Let me ask you a question. If you were a buyer, which pictures would want to make you go see the home? I would be willing to bet every person on this webinar said the pictures on the right. Why? Because in those pictures, the homes are staged. Staging is the main reason a seller will not get maximum price. Let me give you a case study that perfectly illustrates just how important this is. This is a home I owned in California several years ago that I sold to my sister Gina and her husband Joe. They were moving to Nevada and needed to sell it. My sister called me one day asking for advice on the sale. She said they listed it for $179,900. It was on the market for 60 days with 42 showings, but they haven't received an offer. She said they were taking the home off the market for several weeks, then putting it back on for $169,900. I told her that was absurd. I said there are three main reasons why a home sells. Number one is the marketing. 2 is the staging. And 3 is the price. The marketing's not a problem because you got 42 buyers that viewed your home. Knowing you and Joe like I do, staging was the problem. But pricing is always the common denominator. If you don't stage your home, you're going to have to lower the price and you'd be lucky to get $169,000. I sent her my home selling secret ebook. This is the exact ebook I'm going to be giving you for free if you stay tuned all the way to the end of this webinar. I asked her to give me a call as soon as they did everything in the ebook. She called me about a week later and said they did everything in the ebook. I told her to call the realtor and relist it for $179,900. I said if the realtor tries to talk her down to $169,900, don't listen to him because $179,900 is the correct price. Gina called me 3 days later and she was absolutely ecstatic. She said the first 2 couples that walked into their home both wrote above full price offers and it was under contract for $182,000. I was thrilled for them, but I couldn't help but think if they only did this in the beginning, they would have probably gotten even more money. If they did nothing, they would have lowered the price to $169,900. They would have been lucky to get $165,000 for it. So by just following these few steps in my ebook, they were able to make $17,000 more money. That decision ended up paying all of their closing costs, the real estate commissions, and they even had a few $1,000s left over. This is how important staging is. Keep in mind, I'm going to give you this for free, the exact same ebook I gave my sister and her husband, all so you can get these kinds of profits. You see, I know how important staging is and how profitable it could be to home sellers. That's why I give my sellers a free consultation with the professional interior designer and stager that's ASID certified, someone that's recognized in their industry in being the best of the best. Because at the end of the day, I want my clients to know there's no other agent that will do more to get their home sold for the most amount of money than I will. I go the extra mile because I truly care about all my clients. Okay, so now you priced your home where it should be, and it looks like a model home. Let's talk about where the rubber meets the road. Step 3, marketing. If I get excited about this, it's because I am. I love marketing and negotiations. But before I show you how to crush the competition, let's take a look at how the majority of agents will market your home. This way, you will have a better understanding why so many homes sit in the market and never sell. Does this sound familiar? The realtor puts a sign in the front yard, puts it in the MLS and a few websites, sits an open house or two, then prays every night it sells. Is this what you want from an agent? Is this what you're paying thousands upon thousands of dollars for? Of course not. The big thing to understand is selling a home is a zero-sum game. It's winner take all. I don't mean to sound cutthroat, but it's the truth. Either a buyer buys your home or they go buy someone else's home. If you simply do things different and follow the few simple strategies I'm going to share with you, you could gain a huge advantage over other sellers who, quite honestly, are your competition. And this will give you the confidence that you're going to be the one that picks up your phone and hears congratulations, your home is sold, instead of hearing that the buyer bought another home down the street. In order for you to have an effective strategy, you need to know what buyers like, how buyers search, and where buyers come from. I'm going to show you a buyer's profile statistics from the National Association of Realtors. Now, if you want to sell your home, and certainly if you want to sell it for the top of the market, it's going to be important to give buyers what they like. The top 6 things that buyers like when they're looking to purchase a home are photos, detailed property information, a virtual video tour of the home, interactive maps, agent contact information, and neighborhood information. So it's important that the agent you hires puts a lot of their focus on the top 3. Beautiful photos, great description, and a video home tour. And I'll be talking about these in detail in just a little bit. Now, these are the top 6 ways buyers search for properties: websites, realtors, yard signs, open houses, video websites, and newspapers. Now, giving buyers what they like is very important, and knowing how they search is helpful, but the proof is in the pudding. This graph shows where buyers actually come from. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time going over how to get a ton of buyers through internet marketing and the types of internet marketing that is highly effective in today's world, since this is where almost 50% of the buyers come from. I will not go over how most realtors market homes, open houses, magazines, and then, believe it or not, newspapers, because these are completely ineffective and don't work. Well, actually, they never did work. Realtors only did them to get calls from buyers. 33% of all home buyers come from their personal buyer's agent and through the agent's listing. So make sure you hire an agent that has a huge database of buyers. I'm not talking about past clients, but I'm talking about people that have reached out and said, hey, I want to buy a home now or in the future. And hint, it should be a bare minimum of 500. I personally have over 4,000 buyers that I communicate with on a monthly basis. Here's a home I sold a few years ago to a couple. I want to share this story because I think it perfectly illustrates the importance of marketing. About 2 weeks after Dean and Rebecca hired me, we got an accepted offer on their home. I went out to their house a few days later, and Dean seemed a little upset. He said he didn't understand how the last agent they hired couldn't get a buyer for their home. The other company had it listed for months and only got 2 showings, and I got 5 showings in less than 2 weeks and a great offer. I said, Dean and Rebecca, I completely understand your frustration, but if all it took was to put your home in the MLS and put a sign in the front yard, you wouldn't have all these huge real estate companies. And if all the realtors were the same, 7% of us wouldn't be selling 93% of all the homes. Because it's not about getting your home listed. It's all about who you choose to list your home. Does that make sense? Now, in order to crush the competition, you need to make sure your home stands out from all the other homes in the market. The second thing you need to do is hire an agent that does things different. See, most agents don't have any juice in the game. In other words, they don't spend any money or time marketing your home. They spend all their marketing dollars marketing themselves. You see it. I'm number 1. I've sold so many homes last month. See, if an agent spends their money and time marketing your home, they have a vested interest in getting your home sold. Does that make sense? Okay, are you ready? Are you still taking notes? Because I'm going to show you how to crush the competition, if not completely obliterate them, when it comes to internet marketing and getting tons of buyers for your home. First, you need to hire a professional photographer to take jaw-dropping pictures. This is the number 1 thing buyers like, so give them what they want. A picture says 1,000 words. You could increase buyer showings by up to 300% with the click of a button by hiring a professional photographer. Anybody could take a picture, but it's about taking beautiful pictures so buyers want to come see your home. These are the level of pictures you need so buyers want to come see your home. You see, you don't just need curb appeal. Now you need internet appeal. 90% of home buyers search on the internet. Here's 2 essential photo tips. 1, less is more. And 2, quality over quantity. I see a lot of agents that put up 25 pictures of a home and they're all junk. You know what I'm talking about. Dark pictures, blurry pictures, pictures of a commode, pictures of a shower. It's more about the quality of the pictures than the number of pictures. Home movie tours. It amazes me that less than 2% of all realtors even do home video tours. Remember the slide earlier, what buyers like? Number 3 was video tours. Give buyers what they like and hire a realtor that does these video tours. You need a video tour in the MLS. A picture says 1,000 words, but a video says 1,000,000. With over 100 million Americans watching online videos, you're missing home buyers if you hire an agent that doesn't do video marketing. So make sure the realtor you hire does a video tour and markets it on video websites. Experts are saying that multimedia websites like YouTube are the future of selling real estate. Buyers not only like video tours, but they actively search for home for sales in these multimedia websites. Heck, YouTube is one of the most searched websites in the entire world. A while back I got a call from one of my clients. After only 10 days of his home being on the market, he was growing impatient and wanted to know what I was doing to market his house. I sent him a screenshot video of the marketing I was doing, and I showed him his home was not only on the first page of YouTube, but it was in the #1 spot. And only after 10 days, it already had 274 views. But the best part was, his house sold just a couple days later. See, anybody could put a video on YouTube, but it takes a lot of knowledge in video marketing to get it to the #1 spot with hundreds of views. Luck had nothing to do with it. The next is marketing on real estate websites. Every MLS will go out to Zillow, Truly, and Realtor.com. You don't want your home advertised on a few dozen websites. You want to advertise on thousands of real estate websites. National sites like Homes.com, Homes and Land, eLookyLoo, Home Finder, Harmon Homes, etc. Most realtors don't even know these sites exist and how to market your home in them. So when you're interviewing realtors, make sure you know where they advertise and where your home is being marketed. Classified websites. This is another untapped resource by almost all real estate agents. A lot of buyers look at online classified websites when searching for homes. Sites like Craigslist, Backpage get an enormous amount of buyer searches. Mobile marketing. Over 90% of buyers use mobile devices to access their internet during the course of their home buying purchase, and it's imperative that your home is marketed to mobile users. It's really easy to see if the agent you're interviewing is mobile savvy. Just ask them how they're going to market your home to buyers on mobile devices. The multiple listing service. I know this sounds a little odd to talk about this type of marketing because every agent will put your home in the MLS. But what amazes me on how many agents do such a poor job. The MLS is the holy grail. Not just because the most serious buyers receive their information from here, but because this is the information that goes out to all the real estate websites. Your home has to stand out from all the other homes in the MLS. So let's go over the 3 things that buyers like to see when buying a home. Number 1 is photos. Number 2 is a detailed property information. And number 3 is a video tour. Now this seller's home is like 95% of all the other homes in the MLS. It has lousy pictures, a poor description, and no video tour. Not to mention, there are many other critical marketing mistakes in this MLS listing. Now, it's not surprising that this home has been on the market for almost 6 months, is it? So before you hire an agent, ask them to email you a few of their MLS listings so you could take a look at their marketing. Now, here's a word of advice, a negotiating 101. Never offer the following to a buyer prior to getting a contract. Never offer to pay any closing costs. Never offer a free home warranty. Never offer concessions like paint or carpet allowance. Never offer personal items like a refrigerator, a washer, a dryer, etc. See, if you give something away for free, it's not part of the negotiations because you already gave it to them and it's viewed as having no value. I have seen this over and over again. I've talked to buyers and they said, well, the $5,000 carpet allowance isn't part of the offer because they already gave it to me. Look, it's right here in the MLS. And I'm like, you're right. So never do that. Always make it part of the negotiations. Believe me, if a buyer wants a carpet allowance, if they want the washing machine or a refrigerator or just about anything else, they're going to ask for it. So save these things for the negotiation. And if you don't want them, give them to the buyer after the negotiations or give them to Goodwill and take the tax write-off. When I sell a home for a client, I try to get every dollar out of the buyer I can. And that's what you want from an agent you hire. You see, marketing is all about traffic. More marketing equals more buyers, equals more showings, equals more offers, equals a higher offer, equals more money. But it's not just about how much marketing someone does, it's about how they market your home. A while back, I had a newer realtor ask me if I would sell his friend's home. He said he had it listed for several months and he just wasn't getting a lot of interest. He said he didn't know much about selling homes and he only wanted the best for his friend and his family. After completely revamping the listing, I got the home sold in just a few days. After the home closed, he asked me how I got it sold so fast. I said, I've been doing this since 1997. I've spent thousands of hours over my career reading, studying, getting educated on where to market homes, how to market homes, what works and what doesn't work, what buyers are looking for in a home, and how they buy. You're just not going to get these kind of results unless you put in the time and effort. And guess what? He ended up joining my team and he became a buyer's agent. So I guess we both won. Step 4, appointment setting service. This is another very overlooked step by real estate agents because most of them don't want to put any of their money into the listing. But make sure you hire a real estate agent that hires an appointment setting service. I do this for 2 main reasons. 1, I want to make sure it's as easy as possible for the buyer, the realtor, and my seller. 2, I spend a lot of money and a lot of marketing time on the homes. And the last thing I want to do is miss a phone call from a buyer's agent when the buyer could potentially buy the home. So let's go over a few benefits to you as a home seller. Showings can be scheduled 24 hours a day online. You get notified via phone or text. Activity reports keep track of every showing. Automatic email updates to all the agents. So if there's any change in the MLS, I could send out an email blast to every agent that showed your home. This is how I get a ton of backup offers. Feedback reports that can be shared with you via email or online. And most important, no missed calls or missed showing opportunities. One thing you should expect from your real estate agent is great communication. That's why your real estate agent needs a system that will give you exactly what you need and want. Feedback. Here's a sample feedback report that provides the showing time, buyer's agent contact information, and feedback. So do you see how all this marketing I've just shown you will work to get more buyers, more showings, more offers, and more money? Now before you entertain an offer, your agent needs to do a little work. By having your agent ask some very simple yet critical questions, you could easily pocket thousands of dollars and more without even knowing it. Let me explain. Most agents are so excited when they get an offer that they just present it to the seller without doing their due diligence or upfront negotiating. So before you accept an offer, make sure your agent personally talks to the buyer's agent and feels them out and asks questions. Quite often the other agent will sing like a canary. This has happened to me plenty of times. They'll flat out tell me what their buyer is willing to pay, or that they are absolutely in love with the home and they'll do anything to get it. I then get in touch with my client and we make adjustments accordingly. The second thing your agent needs to do is personally talk to the buyer's lender, assuming they're getting a loan. I know this sounds odd, but a lot of lenders will write a pre-qualification letter for a buyer without doing any due diligence. And the last thing you want to do is take your home off the market for 30 days to a buyer who isn't qualified. Here are 5 questions your agent will need to ask. Does the buyer meet the lender's debt-to-income ratio? Does the buyer meet the lender's depositories? Does the buyer meet the lender's credit score? What documentation has the buyer given you? What is your overall assessment of the buyer's qualifications? By hearing the answer to these questions, your agent and you will have a good idea if the buyer's truly qualified to buy your home or if they're just hoping they can buy your home. None of these questions will violate the federal privacy laws because they are general in nature. Your agent is not asking specific questions like how much money the buyer makes or what is their credit score. Asking simple questions have made my clients tens upon tens of thousands of dollars over the years. This is why I like negotiations so much, which again proves what I shared earlier. Always, always, always do your homework on the agent you're going to be working with. Do they put in this kind of extra effort on your behalf? If not, you could easily lose thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. And the unfortunate thing is, you won't even know you lost the money. If you were a real estate agent yourself, and you were looking to sell your home, would you take the time to personally call the buyer's agent to pick their brain about their client? Of course you would. Would you take time to call the buyer's lender to make sure they're qualified to purchase your home? Of course you would, assuming you knew what questions to ask. And you should be just as confident that the agent you're working with will do the same for you, or you'll end up like so many other home sellers who pay dearly for their unwillingness to follow this simple advice. So I know we've covered a lot of ground in this webinar, and I hope you've been taking a lot of notes. We've covered the biggest mistake 95% of home sellers make, the #1 secret that will get your home sold, what real estate experts are saying is the future of selling a home, how to increase showings on your home by up to 300%, how to hire a great realtor and kick the duds to the curb, the 6 marketing secrets that work in today's modern world, the single most important thing you could do to yield the highest net return, how to get home buyers begging to buy your home, the only 2 ways to sell a home, case study, how I made my sister and her husband $17,000 more money by giving them my personal ebook, the same ebook I'm going to give you for free at the end of this event, and so much more. Now I realize that this is a lot to remember. The home selling process is stressful enough, even under the best circumstances. And while I've done everything I can in this short event to give you as much confidence and peace of mind as I can, I still recognize that some of you here still might feel a lot like this little girl when it comes to selling your home. I think this picture really encompasses how a lot of people feel as prospective home sellers. Sometimes you feel like you're trying to get a drink through a fire hose, and you're being bombarded with so much information that you need to know, so you can't make the best decision possible. Or maybe you feel a lot like this lady here. You've tried to sell your home, but despite your best effort, you're still coming up short, kind of like the case study of my clients Dean and Rebecca that I shared with you earlier. They hired a real estate agent to get their home sold, and after all the frustration, they had nothing to show for it. Yet within a few short days after contacting me, I not only got their home sold, but I got them top dollar. That's the kind of service I deliver for my clients, because this is my passion, And it's proof of how I treat every one of my clients as if I'm selling a home for my own family. So you're sitting there right now in front of your computer, or you're on your tablet, and you know what I've shared with you in this short event will serve as an invaluable resource throughout your home selling journey. So let me ask you a question. Who here wants to leverage my years of experience in extensive relationships throughout the Tampa Bay area to zero in on getting your home sold without any frustration, wasted time, or feeling of information overload? All while enjoying the confidence and peace of mind that comes from knowing that I'll be right by your side every step of the way, even after you close in your home. As I've said time and time again throughout this short presentation, who you work with makes all the difference in the world, not only when it comes to your overall satisfaction, but also when it comes to your bottom line. And when you factor in that my fees are on par with the average real estate agents, this should be one of the easiest and most profitable decisions you'll ever make. Because I'll be right there to guide you through all the pitfalls and roadblocks that devastate so many home sellers, while keeping you firmly on track and focused on what matters most, getting your home sold so you could spend time with your loved ones. Let me go to bat for you as you leverage not only my personal knowledge and experience, but the combined skill set of my entire team. There's literally no easier way to get instant confidence and peace of mind when selling your home than to leverage my service, knowing that I'll be there to guide you every step of the way. All the risk is on me, because remember, if I don't deliver for you, I don't make a dime. But I'm willing to take the risk because I know how confident I am that I could provide you with the kind of personal service and expert guidance that you simply can't find anywhere else in the area. So I encourage you to take the next step by clicking the link that just appeared below the video. I'll take you to a short form where you can select a time to personally speak with me one-on-one. There's zero obligation. Even if we decide it wouldn't be a good fit to work together, I could still guarantee at the end of our call, you'll have more clarity and direction on the home selling journey than you had before. That's my commitment to you. So rest assured that by taking the next step right now and clicking the link to request a personal call with me, or email if you prefer, you're not going to be relentlessly hounded by me or my team. With just a glance, you could see that this webinar is being viewed by lots of prospective home sellers just like you, and my services are in high demand. We could simply have a friendly one-on-one where we could get to know each other a little bit more before deciding whether we'll be a good fit to work together to secure your buyer in the fastest, easiest, and most direct way possible by putting the full might of my knowledge and my experience to work for you. I know I've shared a wealth of information on this event, but by taking the next step and requesting a personal call with me, you could feel a huge weight has been lifted off your shoulders. Because after we get a chance to chat, and if we decide we would be a good fit to work together, I'm going to be right there with you through the entire home selling process, helping you price your home, to my solid marketing plan of action, and conditioning your home to get you top dollar and everything in between. Best of all, I'm going to go to bat for you to make sure you get the best price possible, all so you could ultimately enjoy the peace of mind that comes from working with a truly qualified, knowledgeable, and passionate agent you could rely on to go the extra mile and be with you every step of the way, even after the sale's done. After all, you're looking to make one of the largest financial decisions of your life, and I want to provide you with every possible advantage I can so you could have the confidence that comes from knowing that one of the biggest decisions is going to be one of the best decisions of your life. So go ahead and click the link now and choose a time that works for you. The appointments I have available are on first come, first served basis, and I hate to see you miss this window of opportunity that's available for you right now to expertly streamline your entire home selling process. Like I said, there's zero obligation, and I'm very particular on who I work with, just like you should be. So only after we get a chance to know each other for a little bit will we decide to take the next step? And even if we decide it won't be a good fit to work together, I could still guarantee by the end of the call, you'll have more confidence and peace of mind about the home selling journey than you had before you picked up the phone. So that means you'll have nothing to lose and everything to gain by clicking the link below. But I still understand you feel hesitation toward even the most genuine and profitable opportunities like the one you have right now. Most of that hesitation deals with some common myths that many home sellers have about working with an agent. So to give you total peace of mind and take the next step, let me talk about a few of those real quick. One of the most common is, if you don't like your realtor, you could cancel the listing agreement. Nothing can be further from the truth. When I first got into the real estate industry, I worked for a very large corporate company, and there was a real estate agent in the office that would list 15 to 20 homes per month. Ted was an extremely smooth salesperson that would tell sellers anything to get their home listed, and because he had a radio talk show, a lot of people really trusted him. Unfortunately, once Ted got the listing, the seller rarely ever talked to him again. After about a month or two, sellers would get so upset they would call Beth, the office manager, screaming that they wanted out of the listing agreement. Beth would inform them that they were in a legally binding contract and they would not be released from the listing agreement. What she would do was transfer the listing to another agent in the office, and I know this because Beth kept on asking me to work with Ted's sellers. I declined her offers because I just didn't want that type of negative energy in my life. You see, Ted knew that if he just got the listing, he would either sell the home or the listing would be given to another agent and they would do a 50-50 split. Either way, Ted ended up getting paid, and so did the broker. Sadly, there's a lot of Teds in the real estate industry, and only about 8 states are minimum service level states, and unfortunately, Florida's not one of them. In Florida, a realtor or real estate company does not have to provide a minimum level of service to sellers. Basically what this means, if you don't like the service you're provided, there's not much you could really do about it. Now, I'm not giving you legal advice because you could ask this to any attorney or look this up on the Department of Justice website. So please ask every agent the 7 critical questions I emailed you before this webinar. Another common myth applies to those of you on this event that may be working with a relocation company. Oftentimes, these relocation companies stipulate that you must work with the specific agent in the area that they assign to you. This is completely inaccurate because at the end of the day, it's not the relocation company's decision, it's your decision and your employer's decision. So if you're working with the relocation company, believe me, you could work with whoever you want, and I could go over this with you in more detail once we get on a phone call. So click the link below now and pick a date and a time that works best for you, and we could discuss your unique situation in more detail. Another common myth is the thought that you don't need to interview agents because your friend referred you someone. Now, I think referrals are a great thing. Matter of fact, a huge part of my business is from my very satisfied clients, and you should definitely consider them for the job, but you still need to do your due diligence and interview them. See, everybody has a different set of circumstances. They might have done a great job for your friend or family member, but that doesn't mean they're going to be a good fit for you. Over the years, I've had dozens of clients I've worked with that started out working with an agent that was referred to them, and it just didn't work out. A lot of times the agent becomes complacent because they know, or at least they think, they've got the business. When I'm referred a client, I always go in with the mentality that I still have to earn your business. Another common myth I hear from some home sellers is the idea that if they hire a national company, they will do more marketing. At the end of the day, companies don't sell homes, real estate agents do. Any agent that tries to sell you on this line of thought doesn't have the confidence, and they're relying on their company, because at the end of the day, It's not the company who returns the calls, gives you advice on pricing and conditioning, takes the pictures, does the marketing, gets the feedback, negotiates the contract, handles the inspections and closing issues, and all the other things that it takes to get a home sold. Well, I hope you've been taking plenty of notes, because I'm going to go over the most common myth in real estate today and then tell you how to sell your home and pay virtually no cost to the listing agent. The most common myth in real estate is all realtors are basically the same. Now, by this point, you know this is completely not true. You know that the realtor you hire can easily cost you $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000. You know that hiring the right realtor can make you $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 or more. Through my real estate career, I've had tons of clients I have made thousands upon thousands of dollars for when I sold their home. I've given you several examples of clients that have not only made money for, but I also got their home sold when other agents could not. All through my extensive marketing, years of experience, and out-of-the-box thinking. Take my sister and her husband, for example. I wasn't even the listing agent. I gave them some advice in my ebook, and they were able to make $17,000 more. They were able to pay their listing agent's commission, the buyer's agent commission, all their other closing costs, and they still pocketed $3,000. Now, I could only imagine if I was the listing agent and I could have helped her and Joe before they lost those previous 42 home buyers. They most likely would have gotten more offers and made thousands of dollars more money. So if you hire wisely, it could be equivalent to not paying any money to the listing agent, or any money at all for that matter. Does that make sense? So I hope you make the smart decision and click on the link below to set up a time for us to talk in private. But regardless of what you decide to do next, I want you to know that I'm truly excited for you and what lies ahead. Selling a home is such an incredible, rewarding, and exciting experience, and by putting the strategies that I've shared with you in the special event into action, you could rest assured that your journey will be much more streamlined and profitable than you ever thought possible. And don't forget to utilize all the incredible resources I put for your disposal on my website at tampatoenjoy.com. It's completely free, and I put an absolute labor of love into it to ensure that it's a gold mine for any home buyer or seller in the Tampa Bay area. Thank you so much for being here, and for all of you that I see have already clicked on the link to request a one-on-one call with me, I want to know that I'm really excited to get to know you more. I can't wait to share some additional strategies with you, but we just ran out of time to discuss everything in this event. And regardless of whether we decide to work together or not to sell your home, you have my solemn commitment to provide you with every resource I can to make your home selling experience one of the most fun, memorable, and profitable experiences of your life. And for all of you that have stayed to the end of this special webinar event, I will be sending you my ebook as a special thank you gift. And yes, my Ninja software knows if you've stayed to the end or not. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to hearing about your home selling success stories. Take care.